Yeah, they got some stuff here, fire pits and the like, but I think it'd be pretty devoid of firewood, so we'll keep moving. We'll go 30 minutes down the road, find a bush camp somewhere, and then yeah, pull up. And of course all our gear is wet, well, tentage at least, so might pull up 30 minutes earlier and give that a chance to dry out. I don't think we're going to see any more wet weather for the next 24 hours, which would be good. Trying to find a place for a bush camp. I've had a look at a couple of places already, but they weren't suitable. I think I found something now. The problem is there's quite a bit of mining activity going on at the moment, and all these mining camps would have got the best places. So yeah, well, I think I found something suitable. Yeah, this will do. This will do. There's enough there for us. Far enough away from the road. Flat, level, bit of dead timber. Beautiful. Alright, I think we're ready to go. Chris, number one, Chris has decided to return to Perth. He was only ever going to be out here for a couple of days just to clear his head. So he's going to go back the way we came. He'll be home later today or perhaps tomorrow. The remaining four of us will continue heading towards Lake Ballard for a look-see. Lake Ballard is an interesting place, so we'll go there, have a look, and from there make our way to Leonora for fuel and perhaps a bite to eat, and then towards Laverton. I don't know if we'll make Laverton today, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't look like it's going to be any rain today at least, which is a good thing because yeah, most of us got wet yesterday morning packing up, but today looks like it's going to be clear. We do lead a blessed life. We are very, very fortunate, and I know that. Oh, look at this road, eh? Obviously a bit of mining activity going on, and we've got to keep it in good shape. I don't know how long it'll last for. Menzies 55, I think that's the direction we're heading in. We're not going to Menzies. We'll find a turn off that takes us towards Lake Ballard. Alright, the sign there, Lake Ballard 2 kilometres. That's only a short diversion for us, so we'll go there. We'll also go to Snake Hill because that's a lookout. We get a good vantage point of Lake Ballard and the surroundings, and then we'll return to here and turn left and go towards Leonora this way. Now that we've done that, we'll make our way to Lake Ballard. Lake Ballard is an interesting place. Ordinarily it's a dry lake bed, but there's lots of public art spread throughout the lake. Lots of abstract statues. And the statues are based on some of the population of Menzies. This particular artist just grabbed random people from Menzies and decided to make very abstract statues of them and place them in the lake. There's several of them there. The nearest one's a few hundred metres from the car park, but the others are spread over several kilometres. So we'll go and check it out, eh? It is a recognised campground, you can stay here. I can see the sun reflecting off windscreens, so there's people there already. We'll pull up here for half an hour and just have a bit of a crawl around. Yes, interesting place. Anyway, we'll get underway. Make our way towards Leonora or Gwalia. This way, I think. There's only one way in and one way out. Yeah, next to Leonora is an old gold mining town called Gwalia. In fact, I think the mine still operates now, but it was closed for a long time. Yeah, most of the old town is still there. It's an interesting place. In fact, the mine was managed by a bloke by the name of Hoover, who ended up becoming America's president and was responsible for the Hoover Dam. But he started his engineering career here in Australia. The mine wasn't profitable, and they said, "Here, mate, go out there and sort it out," and he did. Although it wasn't streamlined, and it did cause a lot of hardship and misery because he ended up recruiting a lot of cheap labour, much to the concern of the locals. Anyway, we'll talk more about that later. Uh-oh, I think Dave's run out of fuel. We've miscalculated the distance between fuel stops. Cops has got some on board, yeah? Yeah, the DRZ or the ZS or whatever it is, the 400, he's only got a range of about 203 kilometres. It's only a 8 litre tank, we knew that. So yeah, Paul's brought extra fuel with him. But yeah, unfortunately, the distance was just a little bit more than we anticipated. For this trip we knew we needed a range of 400, and I've got an auxiliary tank fitted to mine, a 6 litre tank, and Dave does have a bladder that he'll put some fuel in for the next leg. We knew that nobody was going to run out of fuel. Well, welcome to Leonora. It's all about the gold here as well. That's why these places exist. We'll pull over and get some fuel, that's the priority. Have a bite to eat, and then make our way to Gwalia. Yeah, so this is the old gold mining town of Gwalia. It's actually not pronounced Gwalia, but yeah, that'll do. Yeah, you could probably fossick around here for half a day and not see it all. The mine did close for a while, but has since reopened. And as I said earlier, old mate Hoover, he was his first mine manager job was to actually, come here and try and make the mine profitable. And he did that by employing, not scab labour, but cheap labour from other nationalities, and caused all sorts of strife with the local unions, the local population. But he did turn the mine around and make it profitable. You can stay here, camp, but you've got to be fully self-sufficient, so you've got to have your own toilet, and there's no showers or anything like that. Gwalia Museum, open daily, and up through there, I can't point, up through there is what they call Hoover House, which was the mine manager's residence. It's actually got a cafe there and a stunning view from the veranda. Absolutely stunning. Wow, it's all lawn, grass, well maintained. I guess ultimately all he did was have a view of the mine. Yeah, there's the mine there, and as I said, it was closed for a long time, but it's now operational. And this hotel here was the only hotel actually built and run by the state. It's called the State Hotel, and the reason why it was built and run by the state is that the local population were all running sly grog, all underground. And so to try and control that, to try and curb that, yeah, the state government built this hotel and yeah, operated it. I don't know when it closed, doesn't really matter. I bet you there's some stories to tell. So yeah, we'll give the blokes a bit of time to have a scratch around, and then we'll make our way towards Laverton. If you continue straight ahead, that will take you to Laverton. We're just going to turn off here. There used to be a community here called Malcolm. There's nothing here anymore. But this actually picks up the Golden Quest Discovery Trail. It will be going down what they call the old Laverton Road. It's just a little bit more interesting than staying on the blacktop. There is a railhead up here. I'm not quite what that's for. My guess is that this guy in front of us is carrying ore. Maybe that's the railhead for transporting ore down towards a refinery of sorts. Just overshot the marker. Distracted by other stuff. You can understand how a bloke would miss it. Historic town site, Malcolm, gazetted 1897. Yeah, nothing here anymore. Laverton, 105 kilometres. Probably take just over an hour, perhaps, an hour and 20. Approaching Laverton now. The last, I don't know, about 20 kilometres I guess of the old Laverton Road has been sealed. I can't remember the last time I was down it, maybe 3 years ago, but I was surprised to see it sealed. There is a bit of mining activity going on there, so maybe the mining companies have decided to pitch in. It's just another example why you need to get out there as an adventure rider and do all these roads and tracks while they, you know, still remain, because it won't be long and everything will be sealed. There's no fun in that. Alright, just picked up a couple of beers for around the campfire with a scoop of ice. I'll go back meet the other blokes at the roadhouse there, and we'll get underway. From here we'll actually leave the Golden Quest Discovery Trail. We're going to take a back road towards Kalgoorlie. And to do that, yeah, we've got to leave the trail, and that's okay. But the roads and tracks I've got in mind, I don't think a couple of these guys have done them. So there's probably more benefit in doing that than sticking to the Golden Quest Discovery Trail. And we'll ride for half an hour or so and then find a bush camp somewhere. No shortage of sites around here. I was talking to Chris and he reckons that 20 kilometres has probably been sealed in the last 12 months, because he did that road yeah, less than a year ago, August last year, so yeah, that happened pretty quickly. Anyway, we'll start heading south. It's blacktop for a little while, not long. This road goes past a couple of mines, gold mines, Sunrise and also Granny Smith. So yeah, the blacktop won't last for long. Granny Smith, Sunrise. So I don't make this shit up. We're just going to circumnavigate the airfield here for Sunrise Dam. Some of these airfields for these mines are as big as a commercial airport, you know. Hello boys, how you going? These blokes will be waiting to catch a flight out. Their roster will be 2 weeks on, 1 week off. Probably left it a bit late. I would have liked to have pulled over by now, but once you get close to these places, there's a lot of noise at night. So get a couple of kilometres down the road and find a bush camp. As long as it doesn't rain, we'll be right. Beautiful. We're away for the morning of day 4. Last night we pulled up just outside of a mine, Sunrise Dam mine. The reason we did that is we wanted a signal, Telstra signal. I don't know whether you can make it out, but Paul's hazard lights continually flash. There's a problem there somewhere, and we wanted to try and sort that out before we hit traffic, because it's going to be a bit of a distraction while we're going through the metropolitan area. So we're hoping to log on last night and check Google to see if there was any info there. The bike is relatively new to the market, and nobody's had experience with that sort of thing before, so I'm not quite sure what the problem is, but yeah, that's why we wanted a signal. So very close to Sunrise Dam. The other thing is we wanted a signal to check the weather forecast, because the next 48 hours could be damp in places. There is the possibility of road closures, and we don't want to get there and then find out the road's closed. Yeah, a little bit of noise last night. Noise carries a lot further after dark, but that's alright, it was tolerable. So yeah, today is going to be our biggest day, 456 kilometres. I want to be at a particular place by nightfall, only to make it easy for tomorrow. I've got to go through the major regional town of Kalgoorlie, stop there for fuel and lunch. Providing this track is dry, it should be okay. The signposting along this route is very, very obscure. You know, somebody's scratched some directions or instructions on a 44-gallon drum at a junction, and that's about the extent of it. And over the years, of course, it's all faded and rusted. So some of these roads and tracks aren't even marked on maps. So yeah, it's pretty obscure, but it makes for an interesting journey. It looks like the rain has stopped, at least for now. This track's pretty dry. Still only sitting on 75 kilometres an hour, which is probably okay for these conditions anyway. So this is what I mean about some of the directions being pretty dodgy. That says Lavert and Sunrise that way, you know. So yeah, if you blink you'll miss it. Just do a stock take. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, something's happened. What's happened? Oh, okay. The road's just there, mate. You've only got another 100 metres. We've entered the outskirts of Kalgoorlie. We've made good time this morning. The road conditions for the last, 150 kilometres at least have been pretty good. The rain held off, so we've been able to make up a bit of time. So we'll stop here and get fuel, and we've got time to have a decent break, get some lunch before we start heading towards McDermott Rock via what they call the Victoria Rocks Road. Now I will do a check to make sure that road is open, because the Shire closes it pretty quickly if there's any sign of rain, to prevent damage to the road, prevent the road from being cut up. So I'll do a couple of checks and balances before we leave here as well. Complicated for a number of reasons. Firstly, there's a power outage here in Kalgoorlie. We have been able to get fuel, but it took a bit of dicking around. Secondly, there is a huge front sweeping through this area. Not yet here in Kalgoorlie, but it will soon, to the point where they've already closed the roads in the Dundas Shire. The road we were hoping to take, the Victoria Rocks Road, has been closed in anticipation. Likewise, the Hyde and the Norseman Road has already been closed, even though the rain hasn't hit there yet, so that impacts our plans. We'll get together. We were going to meet at the BP here at 1 o'clock. We'll have a chat about a strategy and then take it from there. Going bush is not an option, not now. Not now. I think it's going to get very ugly very quickly. We're going to make it to Coolgardie, which is about, I don't know, only 30 kilometres or so. We'll get there and we'll have a chat. Here in Kalgoorlie, if we're trying to find accommodation, they would be charging an arm and a leg. This is a mining town and they can charge what they like and get away with it. So we'll get to Coolgardie, pull over very briefly, check on everybody's morale and then take it from there. Some individuals may choose to slap it back to Perth. I mean, it's 1 o'clock now, you could be home back in Perth about 7:30 p.m. But of course it gets dark very early now. Anyway, we'll wait and see. Well, we're at Coolgardie, and this place, there's no power here either. No fuel available, nothing. We've agreed that the four of us will go our separate ways, because if we remain as a group, we could create problems for ourselves in so much as, finding accommodation and stuff like that. So a couple of the blokes are going to slab it back to Perth. I mean, they're not going to get home until dark, and there's quite a bit of roadworks as well, I believe, on the way home. So that would be problematic. I'm going to see if I can get a room in the hotel here or in a motel and cut my losses. It could be that I've got to push on to Southern Cross, which is a couple of hours away, but we'll see how we go. If I can find a room around here locally, I'll pull up. Bit of a shame, bit of a tragedy. It wasn't meant to end like this, but I guess you've got to take the good with the bad. Alright, I've been able to get a room. It took a little while to organise because they got no power here either. And she didn't know which rooms were available and which ones weren't. 13A. I've got to consider myself lucky. I'd rather pull up early today and dry off a bit and then slab it back tomorrow. This is the accommodation here. Apparently it's for most of the mine workers, overnight type stuff and that sort of thing, converted caravans. But that'll do, as long as I'm sleeping out of the weather. I'm happy with that. Yeah, no power yet. She reckons the power will be back on at 5 p.m, but I wouldn't hold my breath. But yeah, $132. It'll do. night, very comfortable night last night in my $130 donger. Quite neat and tidy, kept me dry, had an opportunity to have a shower. I'll just return the key and then get underway. For the record, two of the blokes ended up pulling up at Southern Cross a couple of hours up the road and found accommodation, and Chris, he ended up slabbing it all the way back to Perth and got home at about 8 o'clock, which wouldn't have been much fun for him on a DR650. That would have been 3 hours in the dark, and the headlights on a DR650 are not great. Ask me how I know. I'm just going to duck down the IGA, see if they've got an oversized set of trousers, wet weather gear, because I shredded mine yesterday and there is a chance of rain on the way home. It's about a 6-hour transit for me now from Coolgardie to Perth, and although the temperatures are supposed to be cool, it is supposed to be dry. So, but I still want the added insurance of wet weather gear for my legs. Anyway, we'll go and check it out, see how we go. No, they couldn't help me, they didn't have anything. That's alright, I'll run the gauntlet. So yeah, I've got about a 600 kilometre ride in front of me. Well, 573 according to this. Yeah, I should be home by mid-afternoon. For the record, the bike, because that's the whole idea of this trip, it's a CF Moto 450 MT, or Ibex, depending on which country you're in. I bought it a few months ago, haven't ridden it much, and the whole idea was to get familiar with it. And I'm not sad about my purchase. It was to replace the Suzuki DR650. I've still got the BMW R1200 at home. That is my weapon of choice, but this is going to be more than suitable for the lighter, snottier stuff. Yesterday's power outage, apparently they don't know the cause. It was the main line that fed all of the goldfields. Power went out about 9:30 AM, and because they didn't know what caused the fault, they had trouble diagnosing what to fix. The power did come on at about 4 PM, thankfully. The storm that rolled in yesterday has passed. There could be some light showers, but I don't think it's going to impact on my journey. I hope not. I'll be home by the afternoon. You wouldn't expect too much to go wrong. So with that in mind, and this being the final approach, you know what that means. See you on the other side.